This is the title of a book that amazed me about what things are taught in Italy. Let's see the incredible and rather dubious text itself. This is the TXT in Italian. Apparently we see there is Seloi as origin of Heloi name. Let's translate to understand it better. Ethnonym Hellenes, Greeks. This term is thought to have been used relatively late, starting in the 7th century BC. The oldest form of the term is Seloi, a tribe in Dodona, in Epirus Homer, Iliad, 62-33, 35, a region called Ancient Hellas by Aristotle. There is a second Hellas in southern Thessaly and Theotis, the kingdom of Achilles, inhabited by Myrmidons, Hellenes. In Achaeans, Homer, Iliad, 2683-84 Seloi, to Heloi, and Hellenes also lays. Hellenes gradually shifted from meaning inhabitants of northern Greece to all those who speak Greek. Hellas, Greece, southern Italy, in addition to Megale Hellas, the Aegean coast of Asia Minor. Well, apparently, all the English speakers like those in India, North America, and even Australia are all English. Great logic, somebody explained to that man, that this is the Balkans, the war place, the place of rebels, those who do not accept that easy such renaming. Also, the First World War started on the Balkans. Also, some people will tell you that the prelude to that war was the Balkan Wars, right after the Ottoman Empire collapsed. Nothing like that with northern Greece. Things start from southern Greece and reach the north. And this one lectures imagine. The word has not changed any meaning. This is worse than the logic of a first grader, or even a child in kindergarten. The words, especially the names of peoples, especially so warlike ones, remain the same, but the assimilation by any means has been imposed on the word for everyone, even if they are not like that. And what exactly they are, we will see in a moment. Hecataeus of Miletus from 550 before Christ, died 476 before Christ, son of Hagesiander, was an early Greek historian and geographer. When Aristagoras, acting tyrant of Miletus, held a council of leading Ionians at Miletus to organize a revolt against Persian rule, Hecataeus tried in vain to dissuade his countrymen from the undertaking. In 494 BC, when the defeated Ionians were obliged to sue for terms, he was one of the ambassadors to the Persian satrap Artaphernes, whom he persuaded to restore the constitution of the Ionic cities. Let's see Encyclopedia Britannica about him as well. And this time we got some more. His work was used freely by the 5th century, before Christ historian Herodotus, who acknowledged it only when he found occasion to complain. Well, it is apparently bad to write history and geography before Herodotus, so he will complain. You should be thankful instead. This is the book of Hecataeus of Miletus, and of Skylaces, selected fragments, not the whole book, or maybe that's all there is on the internet. And here is what is written about the author of the book, but since it is in Latin, we will translate it. This book was written by an uneducated man, little trained in writing, who reviewed the places encountered on the coasts in order as they were known to him, and as they were most easily described, using no tools at all. Therefore it is the common speech of sailors. It is the speech of a barbarian man who knew Greek, but not very elegantly, who used in writing that dialect which was that of that city, which exercised the dominion of the Greeks on the seas. Here we see another ingratitude and arrogance in that a man Greek and wrote a book for them, but the Greeks themselves could not write. I repeat, this was before Herodotus, that is why there is such malice. We see a Latin text about Mycena, barbarians, Greek and Hellenic words. Let's translate Mycenae, Fart, 360, whose name it derived from the fact that Perseus had lost his sword there. But the most important is, Hecataeus said that the whole of the Peloponnese was inhabited by barbarians before the Greeks and Hellenes. Herodotus, born 484 before Christ in Halicarnassus, Asia Minor and now Bodrum, Turkey, died 430,420 before Christ. He was the Greek author of the first great narrative history produced in the ancient world, the history of the Greco-Persian Wars, also called the father of history, due to writing the first history books. Athenians, who were regarded as the parent stock of all Ionians, although the Athenians themselves were said to repudiate the name of Ionian, and to claim rather to be Pelasgians. We see in Greek some familiar words like Argos, Egypt, Hellenes, and others. But this book is bilingual, so this Greek is just to see how it was in the original, in case there is a mistake by the translator. It is quite convenient. That is why we see the translation, which is on the right. They say also that those who set forth with Danos, likewise from Egypt, settled what is practically the oldest city of Greece, Argos, and that the nation of the Colchi in Pontus and that of the Jews, which lies between Arabia and Syria, were founded as colonies by certain emigrants from their country. And this is the reason why it is a long-established institution among these two peoples to circumcise their male children, the custom having been brought over from Egypt. Even the Athenians, they say, are colonists from Sais in Egypt, and they undertake to offer proofs of such a relationship, for the Athenians are the only Greeks who call their city Asti, a name brought over from the city Asti in Egypt. In Encyclopedia Britannica, as usual, not very helpful, but show have it. So we read, Sai, ancient Egyptian city, Sai in the Nile River Delta, on the Canopic Rosetta, branch of the Nile River, in Al-Garbaya, Mufa'a, Governorate. From prehistoric times, Sai was the location of the chief shrine of Neith, the goddess of war, and of the loom. The city became politically important late in its history. In the late 8th century, BC Tefnakht, intriguing text. Moreover, certain of the rulers of Athens were Petes, for instance originally Egyptians, they say. The father of that Menestheus, who took part in the expedition against Troy, having clearly been an Egyptian, later obtained citizenship at Athens and the kingship. There is a break at this point in the text, since what follows can refer only to Cecrops, the traditional first king of Athens, whose body in the lower part was that of a serpent. He was of double form, and yet the Athenians are unable from their own point of view to give the true explanation of this nature of his, although it is patent to all that it was because of his double citizenship, Greek and barbarian, that he was held to be of double form, that is, part animal and part man. Let's look at the website Upedia and their data on the genes of European peoples. As you can see on the screen, it won't help us, so I'm extracting the genes that we need. We can see that the Joan gene is most abundant on the island of Crete, which is to be expected, since it is closest to the Semitic peoples, as well as central Greece. It is also present in other parts, but overall it is small, and this is due to the predominant Pelasgian population. It is also seen in other countries, such as Turkey and the Balkans. We see from the site that Joan is a Semitic gene, and this fits with our historical data that we have already seen. Macedonians belong to the older Mediterranean substratum, like Iberians. Macedonians are not related with geographically close Greeks, who do not belong to the older Mediterranean substratum. Greeks are found to have a substantial relatedness to sub-Saharan Ethiopian people, which separate them from other Mediterranean groups. Both Greeks and Ethiopians share quasi-specific gerboanalale. The time period when these relationships might have occurred was ancient but uncertain, and might be related to the displacement of Egyptian Ethiopian people living in pharaonic Egypt. Now we know that historical and genetic data prove that the Danans are people from Egypt and Ethiopia, as well as the Semitic colonists from Sais, with the Pelasgians who were much more numerous and the Greek people were formed. As well as we know why they are called Hellenes and Greeks. It is actually a bit strange that they use names of mythical heroes as names for their tribes and peoples, but until proven otherwise we have no choice but to agree. Please like the video, subscribe and share with all your friends and acquaintances, because we are tired of people making unsubstantiated statements.